So TNA Impact took place once again from Huntsville, Alabama. It was a special themed episode, Genesis Part 2. The show starts with Magnus, Dixie Carter, Rockstar Dud, and Dixie's lawyer backstage. Magnus asks Dixie's lawyer about his business deals overseas. Dud says that Dixie's grip on the company is loosening and Magnus wants to know what's up. Dixie's lawyer says that the mystery investor has made a power move to take over TNA by purchasing shares and that he's going to stop the process. Dixie says that the investor wants influence over the creative side as well as the financial side. Magnus says that he needs to concentrate on his match with Sting, but Dixie's lawyer tells him that he has to do the match by their mandate. Magnus doesn't get it, and Dixie tells him that Sting will be allowed to have someone in his corner during the match. Magnus says that if that's what he has to deal with, then he'll make a counter move and place a no disqualification, no countout stipulation on the match. He says that Sting has to be behind the power move because he operates the best when no one knows what he's doing. Dixie's lawyer says that whether the investor is Sting or not, he'll handle it. And he tells Magnus to back off, but Magnus reminds him to do what he's being paid to do. And Dixie tells Magnus to just go win the match. I'm having a hard time believing that TNA can't find a proper talent agency and hire actors that can play the roles that they are given with credibility. We had to deal with Claire Lynch, and now we got this guy playing Dixie's lawyer. He was clearly trying so hard not to mess up, and since it was a tape show, it was obvious that they took the best of his worst takes and edited it together the best that they could. This segment was a bore, and the credit goes mostly to the lawyer. If TNA wants Dixie to appear like she knows what she's doing, placing people with her that are as bad as she is will not accomplish that. And now that the title match has a no disqualification, no countout stipulation, another fuckfest is on the way. So then we see Magnus, Ethan Carter III, and Rockstar Dud come to the ring. Magnus questions why Sting would agree to put his contract at stake for their match, and then use the power move by the mystery investor to get someone to be in his corner. Because of this, he wants to know what happened to Sting's balls. Then Sting comes to the ring. Sting wonders why Magnus would want to play fair after the way things played out in the unification match. Magnus tells Sting that the focus is on him and wants to know how much cash it took to get someone to be in his corner for their match. Sting says that he didn't pay for it and that he was only told that. Magnus says that Sting must either pin him or make him submit, and that's it. He reminds Sting that he made him submit to win their match at Bound for Glory, but Sting says that he turned the setback into motivation. Sting tells Magnus that he has analyzed their Bound for Glory match and that he knows what Magnus is thinking before the thought is made, adding that a fake champion doesn't do that. He says that it was Magnus's desire for dollars that took him to the title, and that cost him the admiration of everyone. Magnus slaps Sting, and Sting responds by hammering Magnus with blows in the corner. Ethan and Dud attack Sting, and Magnus leaves the ring. Samoa Joe comes running to the ring and clotheslines Ethan, and then Ethan and Dud flee. Sting announces that Joe will be in his corner for the title match. Did I already say that another fuckfest is on the way? So then we see Dixie Carter and Rockstar Dud backstage. Dud wants to know how they're going to deal with Joe's involvement in the title match. Dixie says that Joe has to be taken out. Dud suggests that Dixie should put Joe in the ring against someone. Dixie agrees, saying that Dud will be that someone. She runs a jab job on him and convinces him to take the match against Joe. To call the idea of Rockstar Dud having any chance of taking out Samoa Joe laughable is not worth analyzing the thought. This is where Jay Bradley would have been useful, an independent body hunter hired by Dixie to eliminate Joe. Since Bradley was released by TNA, which is disappointing, that eliminated the possibility of having a promising young star get a break and look believable as far as giving Joe a tough go. Instead, we have Dud. So then we had the world title shot briefcase on a pole match. James Storm versus Gunner. Okay match. The match ends with Gunner crawling toward the corner where the briefcase is hanging from the pole as Storm lies on the mat. He makes it to the top rope before Storm hits him on the leg. Storm climbs to the middle rope and the two do an exchange until Storm takes it up to the top rope and delivers a few blows. He follows that with a head scissors off the top rope that sends both men to the mat. Storm makes it to his feet and climbs back up to the top rope. As he gets his hand on the briefcase, Gunner makes it to the middle rope and sticks his head between Storm's legs. As Gunner pulls Storm off the top rope, Storm pulls the briefcase off the pole. The two come crashing down on the mat and the briefcase flies out of Storm's hand. Storm turns to see the briefcase on the mat and puts his hand on it, but Gunner pulls him away by his leg. Storm tries again to grab it, but Gunner throws blows and knocks him with a headbutt before grabbing the briefcase. The winner of the match, Gunner. Before the match and during the match, Mike Tenay kept stressing the fact that in order to win the match, either Storm or Gunner had to have full possession of the briefcase in order to win the match. Couldn't that have been information that didn't need to be said so that we don't know that the match would have that type of finish? TNA's hard-on for telegraphing continues, but once again, another meeting between these two does not produce a definitive heel and a definitive face. What are they waiting for? The blurriness that TNA is causing with this program is resulting in the fans not investing any emotional interest at all. If this program is to move to the next point, a clear-cut heel and a clear-cut face must be decided. So then we see Kurt Angle backstage. Angle says that Robert Roode has owned him for 4 months and that if he can't get a win over him in the cage, not only does he feel that he is not good enough for the TNA Hall of Fame, he's not good enough for TNA. So then we see an Impact 365 video with Velvet Sky. Velvet shows a package sent to her from her man, Chris Sabin. She reads a letter from him stating his apology to her and that he wants to work on their relationship. He tells her in the letter that she is to bring the items that he sent her to the ring for the X Division title match. Velvet opens the package, which contains a teddy bear, not seen, and a black cylinder, seen, and insert obligatory sexual innuendo here. So then we had the X Division Championship. Chris Sabin, accompanied by Velvet Sky, defending against Austin Aries, with Velvet Sky in a cage. Solid match. The match ends with Aries attempting to deliver the brainbuster, but Sabin counters with a spin kick to the midsection. Sabin picks Aries up in a fireman's carry, but Aries slips out, pushes Sabin off the ropes, and nails him with a discus forearm. Aries launches himself from the corner and hits Sabin with a running drop kick. Aries goes for the brainbuster again, but Sabin grabs the front of Aries' tights and throws him down on the middle rope. Sabin goes to the cage and snatches the gift bag from Velvet. He pulls out the teddy bear instead of the black cylinder that he was expecting. Meanwhile, Aries comes off the top rope and hits Sabin on the outside with a double sledge. Aries throws Sabin back in the ring and picks up the teddy bear from the floor. He goes to the top rope with the teddy bear in his hand and delivers a missile drop kick. Aries sticks the teddy bear in his trunks and bombs Sabin with another running drop kick as the teddy bear goes flying out of his trunks. He goes for the brainbuster once again and hits it this time for the 3. The winner of the match, Austin Aries. He is the new X Division champion. As Aries celebrates to another ho-hum reaction, Velvet goes into an oh well mode towards Sabin and gives Aries a thumbs up as he leaves with the belt. The continuing exchange of the title between Aries and Sabin, combined with Velvet being a bigger prize than the belt itself, has given this program a blah feeling. The matches can still be entertaining, but the focus isn't on the title. Moreover, this situation exists in a division that hasn't featured any other X Division wrestlers since Bound for Glory. TJ Perkins, Kenny King, Petey Williams, Sanjay Dutt, where are they? Change must happen. So then we see a video featuring the American Wolves. And basically they review the situation of Dixie, telling them that they need to be evaluated before being signed, as well as informing her that they didn't because they're already signed. They also reveal that the new company investor will be on the show next week. Good video, although I wish that Richards and Edwards didn't have to revolve around Dixie. The sooner TNA puts them in the ring, the better that particular scenario can be diluted somewhat. So then we had the steel cage match. Kurt Angle versus Robert Roode. Great match. The match ends with Angle executing the Angle Slam on Roode from the top rope. Angle crawls over to Roode and makes a pin attempt, but Roode gets his shoulder up. Angle gets to his feet and starts climbing the cage. He attempts to get over the top of the cage, but Roode gets up there and pulls him back over. The two go through an exchange of blows as they both stand on the top rope. Angle lands a blow that causes Roode to fall and split his nuts on the top rope. He falls to the mat and Angle climbs back up the cage. As Angle makes it over the top and starts his descent to the floor, Roode crawls toward the cage door in an attempt to go through it, but Angle makes it to the floor first. The winner of the match, Kurt Angle. Despite that this was a great match, there are still notes to make. I will never understand why Angle does that moonsault off the top of the cage. From a creative standpoint, it makes no sense because it doesn't fit his moveset. More importantly, that is a bump that Angle shouldn't be doing at this stage in his career. I will still point out how ridiculous the holes in the cage look, and the traditionalist in me will pick about the two particular ways in which cage matches shouldn't be decided. Despite the notes, it was a great match. So then we see Ethan Carter III and Rockstar Dud backstage. Ethan is basically trying to psych up Dud for his match against Samoa Joe. Lame segment. Next. So then we see the glorified jobbers, Robbie E. and Mr. Duh, in the ring with Zema Ion. There's no reason to analyze this segment because nothing that they say will ever be relevant, so I will respond as such. Hashtag you're not over. Hashtag you'll never be over. Hashtag no one cares. Oh yes, I forgot. Eric Young comes to the ring and gets triple teamed. Abyss comes out and destroys everything moving, then grabs Young by the neck for some reason. Blah, blah, etc. So then we see Samoa Joe backstage. Joe is asked about his knee. He says it's cool and he's prepared to go. Joe says that seeing Magnus go from comrade to traitor to Dickhead wasn't a shock, because he's seen similar situations happen many times in TNA, even admitting that he has done it. He says that destroying Rockstar Dud will be the clear sign to Magnus that he's coming. Solid, intense promo from Joe that clearly lays some foundation down for an eventual program between Magnus and Samoa Joe. So then we see Kurt Angle backstage. Angle says that Sting is too important to the company to lose, and that he tried to convince Sting not to go through with the match against Magnus, but was unsuccessful. He says that although Sting says he'll be fine with Samoa Joe backing him, he thinks that Sting will regret doing this. Angle looks into the camera and tells Sting how deeply he feels about him and gives him good luck. So then we had Samoa Joe versus Rockstar Dud. Samoa Joe wins in a squasher. Shocking. After the match, Joe tells Dixie that if any of her stable heads want to get involved in the match, they'll have to go through him. So then we had the World Heavyweight Championship. Magnus versus Sting. Title versus contract. Fuckfest City. Garbage. Magnus wins. Magnus tears up Sting's contract. Sting is done, allegedly. Show ends. For the second time, the new unofficial wrestling stable that I will refer to by the unofficial name of Dixieland inserted themselves into a Magnus World title defense. And once again, Magnus comes off looking less than credible. What happened to the Magnus who said that winning the unification match on his own was important in order to build the foundation for a worthy title reign? What happened to the Magnus that rebelled against Dixie Carter and let her know that he was going to be a champion that makes decisions without her influence? That guy quickly disappeared and was replaced by someone who comes off as just another Dixie soldier who's going to follow orders, whether he agrees or not. Now, Samoa Joe is a future obstacle on the road for Magnus toward respectability. If Magnus were to lose the title to Joe in a match on his own without any help from Dixieland, would he be a man that loses the title with dignity, or a man that keeps the title with none? Unfortunately, it's not up to him. I'm Tazmark 2002, and that was my TNA Impact analysis for January 23rd, 2014. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please leave your comments below, click the like or dislike button, and if you subscribe, I would really appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, you can leave your comments below and click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any questions or comments for me about TNA or wrestling in general, you can contact me on Twitter, Tazmark2002, that's Tazmark 2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email. Tazmark2002 at gmail.com. And be sure to watch the TNA Impact review that I do with Chuck P. live every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time on Chuck P's YouTube channel. If you can't watch us live, you can always watch the archives. And be sure to watch the YouTube channels of both Chuck P and our brother, Carl Cleveland. Decent show. So that's why we've been seeing them. The fuckfests, I mean. Sure, one could throw in the reason why Velvet Sky was in a cage or why a world title shot briefcase was on a pole, but the recent screw jobs on AJ Styles and Sting have resulted in several jokes about Vince Russo doing the booking. However, the jokes may no longer be jokes. Several reports have surfaced that Russo is working with TNA again, in an advisory role to Dixie Carter. Nothing has been confirmed as of now. If it turns out to be false, then Russo can be flattered by the imitating. If not, then maybe this is the role that Russo would prefer. Why choose to be the king when the kingmaker has the real power? I'm TazMart 2002. Gone.